I'm just going to say this. Any media person that I see in person for the rest of my life who try to tell me LeBron James is good as Michael Jordan, I'm just going to slap the hell out of him right on the spot. Right on the damn spot. No question asked. The next person who walks up to me and say, LeBron James, who is amazing, as good as Michael Jordan or competes like Michael Jordan, I'm just going to slap the hell out of you right on the spot. And I'm going to take my chances with the judicial system.
Charles Barkley just went on television and said LeBron James does not want a retirement tour because he knows he is no longer the player he once was. And that was not even the strongest thing Chuck said this week. Once he started talking about LeBron, the criticism got way more intense, with accusations about leadership, claims that teams struggle after his exits, and nobody sitting on that set stepped in to slow him down. Tell me in the comments, is Charles Barkley the last big voice in sports media who still says exactly what he thinks about LeBron James without worrying about the backlash? Let's start with the retirement tour story, because that kicked off everything that came after. According to The Athletic, LeBron has reportedly been telling people close to him that he does not want a farewell tour.
I don't really, I have not even thought to the point of like a farewell tour or whatever the case may be, because I haven't had the conversation with myself and my family on when it's over. So that has not even, I think that will come after that.
No city-by-city send-off, no standing ovations everywhere, no tribute videos, and no giant final celebration. He reportedly just wants to keep playing and then quietly walk away. And the second that report came out, Charles Barkley wasted no time before giving his opinion. Chuck said LeBron does not want the tour because he knows he is not the same player anymore. That was the line, delivered on Inside the NBA with the confidence of someone who sounded like he had been waiting a long time to finally say it. No long setup, no dancing around the subject, just a straight opinion with nothing softening it. And that is what made it hit harder than the average sports debate. Barkley believes the basketball reality is impossible to ignore. LeBron is now 41 years old and dealing with physical issues, including sciatica. There have been stretches during the season where he has clearly been trying to manage his energy. Some games have featured moments where his defensive effort drops off, not simply because of normal fatigue, but because saving energy for offense becomes noticeable in real time. Younger players attack the perimeter, and viewers can see him pacing himself while preparing for the next possession. Those moments have become impossible to miss. Barkley has spent decades around elite basketball, and he believes he knows exactly what he is seeing. His view is that a long farewell tour would mean constant attention, while difficult performances and younger stars take over the spotlight. In Chuck's eyes, that is not a situation LeBron wants to deal with, especially with so much focus on legacy and public perception.
LeBron, by the way, 3 threes away from passing Kyle Korver.
Ooh, Kyle Korver can shoot that thing.
Number 7 all time. And he's second in 30-point games now with 559. MJ's got 562.
See, now, Ernie.
What?
That's an amazing stat to talk about. Everybody, I don't get into a debate about greatness. So LeBron has played how many more seasons than Michael Jordan and he's still behind him? That's crazy. That's crazy. And I love LeBron, but for him to be that far behind MJ and I'm played probably 8 more seasons? Come on, man. Y'all need to stop this.
Barkley also brought up Kobe Bryant, and the comparison landed exactly how he wanted it to. In 2016, Kobe shot just 35%. His body was breaking down, and he was fighting through every game with pure determination and whatever help modern medicine could provide. Everyone knew he was not the same player anymore. Yet in his final game, he launched 50 shots. Not because it was the smartest basketball strategy, not because every shot was falling. Kobe simply decided he was going to leave the game his own way and embrace every second of the moment. He walked out the front door with everybody watching, and fans celebrated every wild second of it, even when it was messy and inefficient.
LeBron wins with a third team. Does he deserve to be spoken about in the same breath as Michael Jordan?
Well, I've said this. If they win a championship, I might put him with Kobe Bryant. In my opinion, LeBron is a great, great player and a great, great man. I got him one slip behind Kobe Bryant. I do. Now, if he wins this year, I might put him on the same level with Kobe. But until he wins another championship, in my opinion, he has not passed Kobe Bryant
Chuck's argument is that LeBron would never approach retirement that way. Barkley suggested that LeBron prefers to avoid having the later stages of his career become the main image people remember. According to Chuck, the idea of hearing crowds cheer while dealing with difficult nights on the court is something LeBron would rather avoid. That is why Barkley believes LeBron is choosing a quieter ending. In his opinion, it is a calculated move designed to step away before decline becomes the biggest storyline of his final chapter. Chuck framed it as a way of protecting his standing in the endless GOAT debate and preserving the image that has followed him throughout his career. But the conversation did not stop there. This is where Barkley's criticism shifted from the retirement tour and moved into something much bigger. Recently, LeBron appeared on a podcast and said he has never really been obsessed with statistics and that numbers have never been his main focus. The response from people who have followed his career closely was immediate. Many observers quickly pushed back on those comments, arguing that statistics and milestones have always been major talking points surrounding LeBron's career. And that is where Chuck's criticism started heading into even more controversial territory, opening up a much larger debate about legacy, records, and how history will remember one of basketball's biggest stars. Barkley's reaction on Inside the NBA was described as real laughter, the kind that happens when somebody says something that sounds completely unbelievable. Chuck could barely hide it. In his eyes, the idea that LeBron does not pay attention to numbers simply did not match what everyone has watched for more than 2 decades. This is a player whose career has often been discussed through records, milestones, and stat lines. Critics point to moments like a Lakers game back in February, when the team was down by 22 points with only 4 minutes left. Instead of sitting on the bench while the younger players finished the game, LeBron stayed on the floor and kept competing. Many fans noticed that he appeared focused on grabbing one more rebound to complete a triple-double. There was even a sequence where he nearly crossed paths with Austin Reeves while pursuing the board, and critics immediately pointed to that moment as proof that personal numbers still matter a lot to him. For people who see the game that way, it summed up a much bigger story. They argue that LeBron's entire 23-year career has also been connected to the debate surrounding Michael Jordan, not necessarily through championships anymore because many believe that argument became harder years ago, but through achievements and records that can be measured and compared. The biggest example is the all-time scoring record. LeBron chased it, broke it, and now owns one of the most famous numbers in basketball history. Supporters see that accomplishment as proof of unmatched greatness, while critics believe it gives him one major category to point to whenever the GOAT debate comes up. But there is another side to that argument. Critics often point out that LeBron has played 8 more seasons than Michael Jordan played during his entire NBA career. 8 seasons is a huge difference. Their argument is simple. If Jordan had been given that many additional years, the scoring race could have looked very different. To those people, longevity and peak performance are 2 completely different conversations. They believe that over enough time, volume statistics eventually become impossible to ignore. Barkley has talked about that idea for years, and he has never hidden where he stands on the subject.
On Charles, he's a hater. What makes what he says credible? Because he's on TV? I'm not going to let him disrespect my legacy like that. I'm not the one who threw somebody through a window. I never spit on a kid. I never had unpaid debt in Las Vegas. I never said I'm not a role model. I'm tired of biting my tongue. There's a new sheriff in town. And that brings us to this Thursday night inside Studio J here in Atlanta.
Well, this was the most anticipated night I've actually been.
For me too, Kenny.
I was anticipating this all
I have
day.
not.
That's why I didn't call you. I didn't want to hear any preconceived. No, I think Shaq is laughing because this is actually serious to me, because I didn't want to hear any preconceived what you had to say. I want to hear it fresh, live, and direct.
Okay. So, number one, I have no problem with what LeBron said. I have no problem. Everything's not true, but most of that is true. I've did some stupid things in my life. That being said, I've been doing this job for 15, 16 years. I have never said anything personal about a guy, and I'm never going to, ever. All my criticism on any player or comments on any team is strictly about...
The long-running tension between Barkley and LeBron is also much deeper than many viewers realize. Some fans assume the back and forth is just entertainment for television, but this disagreement stretches back more than 15 years. It all started in 2010 when LeBron announced his move from Cleveland to Miami during The Decision, the nationally televised special that shocked the basketball world. Barkley was one of the few major voices willing to openly criticize the move. He called it a punk move during a radio appearance and showed no concern about upsetting one of the most powerful stars in sports. Chuck simply said what he believed, even though speaking against top players can sometimes affect relationships and access. Around that same period, Michael Jordan shared similar thoughts. Jordan said that in his era, he would never have called Larry Bird or Magic Johnson to join forces because his goal was always to beat them. That competitive mindset became one of the biggest talking points in the debate between generations. Barkley and Jordan appeared to see things through a similar lens, and that alignment only made the criticism louder. Then came 2017. LeBron and the Cavaliers hit a rough stretch during the season, and frustration around the team started becoming public. LeBron spoke openly about needing more support and more playmakers, despite Cleveland having the highest payroll in NBA history at the time. Barkley responded on Inside the NBA and did not hold back. He called the comments whiny and questioned whether a player considered the best in the world should publicly express those frustrations in that way. Chuck's message was straightforward. If you are viewed as the leader, then leadership comes with responsibility. LeBron's response did not focus only on basketball arguments. Instead, he fired back on social media and brought up several incidents from Barkley's past, including old controversies and mistakes that had happened decades earlier. That exchange immediately turned heads because the conversation shifted away from basketball and into personal history. Critics of LeBron saw that move as a sign that the original argument had struck a nerve. In their view, responding to basketball criticism with personal attacks changed the entire tone of the debate. What made Barkley's reaction stand out even more was how he handled the situation afterward. Chuck went on camera and made his position crystal clear. He said that throughout more than 15 years in television, he had never made his criticism personal when talking about players. According to Barkley, his opinions have always been about basketball, and basketball only. He made it clear that he had no interest in turning the disagreement into something bigger, even after the feud had exploded into one of the most talked about clashes between a superstar player and a Hall of Fame analyst. That contrast has become one of the biggest talking points in this long-running feud. Critics point to the fact that LeBron responded with personal remarks, while Barkley continued insisting that his comments were strictly about basketball. Even after being challenged, Chuck refused to turn the debate into something personal, and many people believe that part of the story often gets overlooked. The bullying accusations are also among the most recent and controversial comments Barkley has made in this ongoing saga. After LeBron approached Stephen A. Smith during a highly publicized moment, Barkley shared his reaction and described the situation in very strong terms. Chuck said LeBron was too influential and too powerful to come across that way. He even joked that he avoids criticizing Bronny now because he does not want LeBron pulling up on him. The line was classic Barkley humor, but plenty of people felt there was a serious point underneath the joke. Chuck appeared to be raising concerns about whether analysts and commentators feel pressure to watch what they say when discussing certain stars. That concern has sparked bigger conversations about sports media itself. Critics argue that when personalities begin censoring themselves because they fear backlash or damaged relationships, honest analysis becomes harder to find. Barkley, who has built a Hall of Fame career and enjoys enormous success outside basketball, has often presented himself as someone who does not worry about losing access or upsetting powerful figures. Because of that, many viewers believe he is one of the few remaining voices willing to say unpopular things out loud. Supporters of Barkley argue that once he eventually steps away from television, a major source of blunt commentary surrounding LeBron's legacy could disappear with him. Another label Barkley has used is the franchise killer description, and that criticism connects directly to several major roster decisions over the years. One of the biggest examples frequently mentioned is the Russell Westbrook trade. Reports from multiple sources suggested that LeBron and Anthony Davis supported bringing Westbrook to Los Angeles. The move completely reshaped the Lakers roster. Several role players and pieces that had helped provide balance and defense were moved, and many basketball analysts immediately questioned whether the fit would work. In the end, the experiment struggled, and critics pointed to those early concerns as proof that the warnings had been correct all along. When things started falling apart, some observers felt LeBron publicly distanced himself from decisions that many reports had connected him to behind the scenes. That criticism has followed him for years, with opponents arguing that superstars sometimes influence roster moves but avoid taking full responsibility when those plans fail. Barkley has also linked those patterns to larger changes happening around the league. He has argued that modern roster-building rules did not appear out of nowhere. According to Chuck, years of stars joining forces, Teams sacrificing draft picks and organizations being left with limited flexibility eventually pushed the NBA towards stricter financial rules. Those second apron restrictions have dramatically changed how franchises operate. Barkley has openly suggested that if superstar movement had not reached such extreme levels, some of those rules may never have been necessary. In his eyes, the behavior came first, and the league's response followed afterward. Because LeBron has been one of the biggest stars connected to player movement throughout the last 2 decades, Barkley believes he represents the most visible example of that trend. Chuck has connected those dots repeatedly, and he has never backed away from that opinion, even knowing how much backlash it could create. Another debate Barkley frequently returns to involves what he calls the soft era of modern basketball. He has often described LeBron as one of the faces of that generation and compared today's stars to legends from earlier eras. Michael Jordan battled the physical Detroit Pistons year after year before finally breaking through and winning championships. Those playoff battles became a huge part of his story, and supporters often point to them as proof of his toughness and determination. Kobe Bryant is another example Barkley supporters bring up. Kobe endured difficult seasons and rebuilding years in Los Angeles because staying with the Lakers mattered deeply to him. Fans still remember those years, including the seasons involving players like Smush Parker, as proof of his commitment to the organization. Critics of the modern game argue that players from previous generations often approached adversity differently. They point to examples of stars playing through difficult stretches, staying with struggling teams, and embracing challenges instead of searching for easier paths. That entire debate remains one of the biggest divides between generations of basketball fans. And with Charles Barkley continuing to speak his mind without filtering his opinions, the controversy surrounding LeBron James and his legacy keeps getting louder and louder. Players from earlier generations often took pride in being available no matter what. Barkley himself has talked many times about playing through serious injuries because fans spent their hard-earned money to watch the game. Supporters of that old-school mindset believe the culture around basketball has changed over the years. And Chuck's argument is that LeBron's approach to workload, body management, statistics, and public image represents one of the clearest examples of where the modern era has ended up. The GOAT debate is really the final piece of what Barkley has been talking about throughout this entire conversation. Chuck has argued for years that if someone in LeBron's circle refuses to call him the greatest player ever, it is often treated like some kind of betrayal. According to Barkley, the combination of media influence, social media support, business connections, and constant debate creates an environment where opposing views are quickly challenged. Despite all of that, Barkley has stood firmly on Michael Jordan's side of the argument for more than 15 years and has never changed his position. He has handled criticism and backlash without backing down, even when the debates became heated. For Barkley, the case starts with Jordan's 6 championships, 6 Finals MVP awards, and undefeated Finals record. He also points to Jordan's fierce competitiveness and the standards he demanded from everyone around him. In Chuck's eyes, those are powerful arguments that continue to keep Jordan at the top of the list. Because of that, Barkley believes supporters on both sides fight so aggressively over the debate. He has suggested that much of the effort surrounding LeBron's legacy is about protecting his place in history and pushing back against critics who continue to favor Jordan. That brings the conversation right back to the retirement tour story that started everything. Barkley does not believe LeBron's reported desire for a quiet exit is about humility. In Chuck's view, it is another example of carefully managing the story and controlling how the final chapter will be remembered. His argument is simple: control the narrative, control the ending, and control the lasting image people carry forward. Barkley believes that if a farewell tour brought constant attention to difficult performances and highlighted the natural effects of aging, then avoiding that spotlight becomes the smarter move from a legacy standpoint. Whether fans agree with that opinion or completely reject it, one thing is impossible to deny. Charles Barkley has remained one of the loudest and most outspoken voices on this subject for well over a decade, and he has shown absolutely no signs of backing away from his views. Over the years, Chuck has thrown out some explosive labels and controversial opinions. He has criticized LeBron's leadership, questioned decisions, challenged his legacy, and repeatedly said things that many others in mainstream sports media have avoided touching. Love him or hate him, Barkley has never been shy about speaking his mind. And even now, after all these years, he is still delivering those opinions with the same confidence and energy that made him one of the most entertaining personalities in basketball television. So what do you think about everything Charles Barkley had to say? Do you agree with Chuck, or do you think he has gone way too far with some of these comments? Let everybody know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with other basketball fans so they can join the conversation too. Your support really helps the channel grow, and it is always appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.